Alright, we're back with some more CSI. Moving on to the second case, Light My Fire. 3 guesses to what happens in this case.
I need you to go investigate another crime. Sarah will meet you on the site and give you the details. She's one of our best. You can learn a lot from her.
Alright.
Looks like somebody's been playing with matches.
What we seem to have here is a break-in and arson. According to his statement, Jason Gray, the homeowner, left his house around 11:30 p.m. to go for a run. He was gone for a little over an hour, came back to find his home office ablaze. Got the fire out, but lost most of his office gear, computer, desk, the works. We've already canvassed the neighborhood, but nobody saw anything or anybody suspicious. Wish I had more for you.
That's what we're here for, officer. We'll start processing the scene, but we're gonna want to chat with Mr. Gray. Sorry we had to meet here at the scene. I'm Sarah Seidel. Glad you could come aboard CSI. It was getting kind of old being the new kid myself. Anyway, I hear good things about you. We're gonna pair up just fine.
That was a suspicious clock. Alright, I suppose really we should have a look around
There's
first.
a redial button. Maybe we should find out who the last person was on the other end.
Let's do it. Click.
Yeah, leave a message.
Pleasant. Sounds like Gray keeps good company.
So that didn't help whatsoever, really. Hello?
Fire could have started here. House fires typically double in size every 30 seconds. Gray seems to have gotten to it pretty quickly.
Coincidence or?
Looks like some burned wood scraps.
Is there anything
Try using a similar tool.
similar tool? Hello.
Beautiful. Hydrocarbons and most other accelerants fluoresce under ultraviolet light. This is a good sample for Gray.
Alright, we'll take it.
It's colored and rounded. Definitely not window glass.
Do we have a print?
There's no prints here. We can't use that here.
Gases.
We can't use that here.
It's a fire. Why can't we use this?
There's nothing special there.
I don't think there's anything I can do with this, is there? Fine. Thought it might have had prints on it. Oh, it's just going to take me back to there. Okay. What's
Every
this?
fire has its share of survivors. This is not one of them. If the perps were grabbing up Gray's papers before lighting them, we might find a survivor. Fingerprints. Too fragile to dust, but there's other ways to check for prints.
Ah.
We can't use that here.
Well, you told me about it being... Oh. Derp. There it is. Got it. Can we take the paper?
Every fire has its share of survivors. This is not one of them. If the perps were grabbing up Gray's papers before lighting them, we might find a survivor. Fingerprints. Too fragile to dust, but there's other ways to
So
check
I'm
for
guessing it's too
prints.
fragile to pick up as well. We check the window? Hello.
Grissom says let the evidence tell the story. So, if this window was broken from here, why so many shards outside?
That's a good point.
There's no prints here.
Alright, just worth checking.
Try using a similar tool.
Oh, is it small, is it? It looked fairly big, alright? What about
Does that
this?
look like a shoe print to you? Me neither. Cast it. Maybe Gray can give us a lab rat's eye view that'll tell us what the heck it is.
Knee print, maybe? That sound effect. Can we check the window? No? Alright, let's go back in.
Well, we know the window's broken. What we need to know is how it got that way.
You don't say.
Glass on the floor could mean the window was broken from outside, so our arsonist could have been standing just outside that window before the fun began. We can't use that here.
Alright.
We can't use that here.
So I can't pick up anything?
We can't use that here.
So what was
We can't use that here.
what was the point? You know, that clock is exactly the same time as it was in the interrogation room on the last case. Alright, I guess we're going to talk to you.
I'm Jason Gray. You the officers who wanted to speak with me?
We're with the Las Vegas Crime Lab, Mr. Gray. Criminalists. Sorry about your house. We just have a few questions.
Anything I can do to help. I hope there's some chance you can find whoever did this to me.
What happened?
Well, as I told the officer, I went out to get a little exercise. I do this when I can't sleep. It must have been around 11:30 because it was after the news. At any rate, I wasn't gone for much more than an hour 15 at the most. But as I was walking home, I could see a strange light coming from my office. And then I caught a whiff of smoke and the alarms went off. Mentally, I mean. I rushed in and somehow managed to put the fire out. Best I could.
Why didn't you call 911 when the okay. What was destroyed?
Well, I haven't taken a complete inventory, but obviously my computer, and with it, all my files and research, projects, client database. It'll take months to reconstruct it all. I should have kept backup disks in a safe deposit box, but damn hindsight. At least my insurance will cover some of it.
Do you know anyone who might want to do this to you?
Maliciously, you mean? I don't know, really. Not unless... Well, there is one person, but I can't imagine... James Ritchie. He's my biggest rival in the field. Aviation design. Anyway, we go way back. Not all of it good. He's been stealing clients away for a long time, and he's got a checkered past, to say the least. Still find it hard to believe.
That's a lot of information about this one guy. Do you know where we might find him?
He's got several offices around town. I couldn't hazard a guess where he'd be right now.
Brass will find him. Alright. Sarah. Well, I can find out what started the fire by taking the evidence to Greg. So, let's go ahead and do that. Yo, Grego!
We got an arson case and need some tests run.
Well, and it's a pleasure to see you too, Sarah. But I'm starting to feel like this relationship is kind of lopsided. I give, you take.
How about I make it up to you by giving you this evidence to analyze for us?
Somehow I don't think I'm making my point. So, you got a hot case, huh?
Quite
Yeah,
literally.
Well, let's have a look.
Alright. Gotta put that through. Tell us about this.
Well, what this isn't is a shoe print. It may be a knee print.
Told you.
But I'm fresh out of knee print databases, so I can't do much with it at the moment.
Seems fair. What about the wood? Alright, about the glass.
That's wine bottle glass. I could have told you that back in my college days. What I couldn't have told you is the chemical composition's very similar to glass used in bottle factories, South American bottle factories. And I found traces of an accelerant from the fuel oil #1 family to boot.
Okay. And the wood?
Traces of accelerant. What you have here is lighter fluid.
Okay. There's that train again. Please tell me you heard it that time, guys. God damn it.
Judging by the radial fractures and hackle marks, you've got a window broken in with a great deal of force. Funny peculiar, I mean, erosion pattern suggests the outside of the window is traveling away from the source of impact.
So, broken from the inside. What about fingerprint? Hello?
We have an APHIS match to James Ritchie, charged with insurance fraud 4 years ago. Case was dropped, however.
Okay. And that was on the fragile piece of paper. Doesn't link him as well as we'd like, but it's a start. So, Brass.
Any breaks in the arson?
Check out James Ritchie for me, will ya?
Well, let's pull him up. Seems Mr. Ritchie has a prior for insurance fraud. Promising. Charges were eventually dropped. But you know what they say. where there's smoke.
Can you locate him?
His company has a few offices scattered around Vegas. But the downtown branch seems to be the HQ. I'd start there.
Cheers.
Heard about what happened to Gray. Shame. Happy to help. If you can keep it short. I have a meeting in 15 minutes.
Okay. How well do you know him?
He's a competitor, just not much of one. We both manage companies that design commercial airplane prototypes, and his business has been in a tailspin for more than a year. It's not my fault his dissatisfied clients come looking for a home.
Have you ever threatened him?
Why would I? He's barely on my radar. I would say, if anything, Gray feels threatened by yours truly. You know, he even approached me, begging to buy him out a couple of weeks back, as if I wanted what was left of his excuse for a company. I didn't threaten him, I laughed in his damn face.
Where were you at the time of the fire?
You can't seriously think I had anything to do with it.
Routine questions.
Look, I'm not Jason Gray's biggest fan, but I don't go around burning houses down, even when I don't care for somebody. As for my whereabouts, you might check with the other 150 passengers on my flight, coming in from Chicago, flight 157.
Okay. Sounds pretty, good alibi, really. Tell us about your criminal record. Yeah, go on.
I have no criminal record. Those charges were dropped. This is still America, isn't it?
You still have a record. Just says that the charges were dropped. Your prints on a piece of paper found at Jason Gray's home.
So what? I have had dealings with Gray. We've exchanged our share of documents over the years.
Do you know anything about his friends?
If you're fishing for those drug rumors, I won't be part of that. However I may feel about
Wait,
Gray,
what?
I don't intend to get involved in character assassination. Anyway, what a man does in his private life is his own concern.
Who said anything about drugs? Okay. Wrong thing. So everything's checked out there. Brass, can you
Yes?
check his alibi for us?
Give me a second. Airline manifest confirms Richie was on that flight.
I thought so.
Got in at 12:12.
Okie doke. Mr. Gray.
I can't tell you anything else right now.
Bugger. Okay. What's the plan here, Sarah?
We'll want to test for accelerants. Things that
Hello.
start a fire. This looks like a typical burn pattern. Lots of charred samples and residual gas in the air.
Gas.
Are you sure you haven't done this before? Little luck. Greg will tell us something useful from the sample.
Of course I missed something. Back to Greg.
Hey guys.
Right. Wrong thing. Evidence. Trace.
You're gonna love this. It's as simple as ABC. A, it's lighter fluid. B, it's not lighter fluid. It's from the fuel oil number 1 family. Or C, it's both.
I'm assuming it's both then. How did that help? I don't have anything. Bugger. We have. Everything's kind of... Alright. Has no means but motive and opportunity. Yeah, no, it doesn't have opportunity.
I can't tell you anything else right now.
Damn it.
I have nothing else to tell you for the time being.
I can't help you until you find some solid evidence.
That's the problem. Fine.
You might find it helpful to have Greg run an analysis on the rag fragment from the floor of Gray's office.
The what fragment?
We can't use that here.
Rag fragment?
Every fire has its share of
you-
survivors. This is not one of them. If the perps were grabbing up Gray's papers before lighting them, we might find a survivor.
You said this.
Every fire had...
Yeah. What rag? I don't have a rag.
We can't use that here.
So what am I missing?
Make sure you've picked up everything in Gray's home, like rags and even broken glass.
What rag? Anything that looks like a rag is that, and I can't do anything with it. Okay, I am completely confused. Oh,
Rag fragments.
thank you.
Smells greasy. I don't imagine Mr. Gray was working on his car in here, do you?
You never know. But I doubt it. God damn
Ever
it.
hear of a Molotov cocktail? That's 1 part rag, 1 part bottle, and 1 part liquid accelerant. Could be what started this fire.
What's this?
This lighter's an antique, so maybe it's just a collectible, but the cap's been screwed off and it's empty.
Yeah.
Anything that could have started this fire is important. Collect it.
Is there prints on it?
There's no prints here.
Okay, just checking. Alright. I don't believe I was that stupid and missed that.
Yeah.
Right. What have I got for you then? I've got a rag.
What we have here is a rag containing the delicate bouquet of fuel oil number 1 family, an accelerant. But it's a popular rag with lots of other party guests, dirt, grease, and a turbine oil used only in commercial aviation. Strong possibility that our fuel oil number 1 accelerant was jet fuel. And one more tasty tidbit for you, that rag's made of cotton fiber. And I'm not talking an old t-shirt here. It's exotic, one of 2 of almost 700 known cotton germplasms, one of which can only be found in Guatemala, while the other is native to northern regions of Ecuador.
So how did that help?
Now that I've compared it to the earlier sample, I can say without question, it was aviation jet fuel. Rag, jet fuel, and a broken bottle. One Molotov cocktail coming right up. Or that is, apart.
Okay, what about the lighter?
Yes? Do I have to tell you it's a lighter? And that it once contained lighter fluid?
Just checking. Right, so we know what was used.
I can't help you until you find some solid evidence.
Alright. You recognize this lighter?
Yes, of course. Kind of a keepsake I'd misplaced. Thanks for finding it.
About misplaced. It was right in your desk. You own any aircraft?
Well, strange as it may seem considering my business, I don't. My obsession is sailing. You've probably already learned that Gray has a pilot's license. I think I remember hearing he keeps a plane here in town.
Nope. Didn't get told that.
I can't tell you anything else right now.
Okay.
What can I do for you?
Need to find his plane.
We'll just check civil aviation records and see. Corporate Learjet Tango 146, registered to his company. Last place it was hangared was Henderson Executive Airport. See if it's still there.
Thank you. Finally, a new location. What's this?
Gray made a fuel purchase not long ago
Ecuador.
from the International Airport in Quito, Ecuador.
Let's just check first.
There's no prints here.
Okay. Yoink. Hello. Plenty of clags? Rags. The hell are clags?
They're locked. Guess we won't be getting in there.
Bugger.
Looks like our high-flying exec wasn't exactly candid with us about the state of his corporate affairs. We have a man seriously behind schedule here, facing a loss of a cool $1.5 million. That's what we CSIs call a motive.
Nice. Is that everything here? Can we check the plane? Let me guess. I'm gonna click there.
Tango
Oh no.
146. Gray's plane, all right.
The hitbox sometimes on your characters and that can be quite big, and you're like looking here and you think, oh, something, and click, and it'd be like, nope, talking to them. Alright, I don't think there's anything else for us.
So our hot...
Oh, balls.
You know what else Grissom hates? Slow lab work.
I accidentally skipped the conversation there. Have a rag.
Hanger rag and the fragment from Gray's home share the same rare cotton germplasm. Species is definitely of Ecuadorian origin.
So nothing else I can do with any of these.
I can't tell you anything else right now.
You guys are moving fast on this arson case. Got a new lead?
Bring him in.
Guy torched his own house, huh? Well, let's bring him in for a chat.
Let's do that.
Maybe he's just burning to confess.
I see what you did there.
Mr. Gray, I think you know why you're here. We've gathered considerable evidence indicating that you lied to us about the fire at your home.
Cooperate. Make it easier on us, we'll make it easier on you.
I've told you everything I can think of. No intention on my part to be deceptive.
Why was it found outside your office window?
I don't know anything about that. I'm the victim here, you know.
Have you bought any wine from South America?
Sometimes I purchase wine when I'm down there. There's a fine local winery. So what? What am I being accused of? Drinking and driving?
Do you have access to jet fuel?
Are you joking? Of course I do. I own a plane and I'm active in the aviation industry. Jet fuel's good for killing weeds. Always keep a little in my back shed.
It's not a good idea. What about the rag?
I have a bunch of those rags. I don't know where I picked them up. There must be thousands of rags like that in Nevada.
Are you falling behind your contract?
What business is that of yours? My office is a charred ruin. I lose most of my key records and you're nosing into my clients?
We have all the evidence we need to make an arrest, Mr. Gray.
Do we?
I just wanted to give you an opportunity to make it easy for both of us. We can do this the hard way.
I guess you're right. What's the use? You got the goods on me. You're right. I was way behind on that contract, looking right into the face of financial ruin. It had been building up over the last few weeks. The pressure. But it was spur of the moment. An impulse. I grabbed a rag and that bottle of jet fuel in the shed and smashed it on my office floor. You know, to suggest somebody pitched a Molotov cocktail. I added fuel to the fire, literally. Emptying my lighter on the desk, making sure to douse some letters on top, including one from James Ritchie. I put it out with the fire extinguisher I brought with me from the shed. Then it occurred to me, I ought to make it look more like a break-in, so I busted out a window in the office. But even as I was doing it, I saw the pieces of glass tumbling onto the ground outside and realized I'd screwed up. So I went out and tossed them back in. That's everything, I think.
After all that lying, don't you feel better now?
Mr. Gray, we didn't secure your shed because it wasn't part of the original crime scene. Could we have your permission to check it now? To confirm your story?
You need me to do that?
A judge would give us a warrant easy enough, but you letting us skip that step would be another gold star in your cooperation column.
That's what I'm trying to do. Cooperate. Go ahead. My house is your house.
That all got admitted rather easily.
Gray's story sounds way too strange. Let's check this area for collaborating evidence just to be safe.
Footprints.
This looks like a deep impression, so it may be recent.
Let's go in.
Make sure you check the handle for prints before you touch it.
Good idea.
Fingerprints are mostly moisture. They evaporate pretty quick in the dry air around here. It means these prints are recent. But looks like we've got two overlapping sets of recent prints. If one belongs to Gray, the computer may be able to separate them in the lab.
Fingers crossed then. Alright, let's go in. Guessing this should be...
Yuck, that's nasty. Definitely smells like gasoline.
Bottle missing, some fuel.
We can't use that here.
Alright, get a swab of the fuel.
Gray's confession is holding up. These are obviously the wine bottles. Ecuadorian vintage, too.
Take it with us.
What do you want to bet this thread matches the rag in the house and the ones from the hangar?
Good call, I guess. Don't think there's anything else. Alright. Let's go check out new evidence.
Is it my charisma that keeps you coming back for more? Or just my brilliant intellect?
Your fancy gadgets, mate.
Sorry. Can't do anything with that.
No, I need something to compare it to, don't we?
Sorry. Can't
Alright,
do
so
anything
you
with that.
can't separate for us.
And survey says we have a match. Same jet fuel used in Jason Gray's little indoor bonfire. Exact same composition. Once again, we have our same rare cotton germplasm. Hey, keep bringing me these samples. It's not going to be so rare.
So that does match the rags. And the bottle.
Sorry. Can't do anything with that.
Okay, so why did I have to pick it up? Can we find anything on this?
So much for Gray being Mr. Cooperation. Prints from an 11.5 boot. About 2 sizes bigger than his feet.
Someone else was there. What about this?
We separated our
separate them
twins
for me.
and both have survived. We've got 2 sets of prints now.
Nice. So.
Yep, these are Gray's prints. They were entered in the system earlier.
Alright. So we know we've got one set that is his. Who's the other set?
Stan
Bingo.
Giddens? Wonder if Gray can tell us why he's got a drug dealer in his backyard.
And then we could do with getting a shoe print from him.
Make me happy. Tell me Gray's confession checks out.
Not quite.
Sure, I can do that.
Who's Stan Gins?
Am I supposed to know?
I think you do, and we're gonna prove it.
Alright.
Yes?
Bring in Stan Gins.
Good call. Maybe he can tell us why Mr. Gray's confessing and lying at the same time.
Mr. Gins, there was a fire at the home of Jason Gray. You've been brought in for questioning on the matter.
Yeah, what's your relationship with him?
We've done some business. What kind of business? That's between me and my client. But I don't know from fires, okay?
Okay, where were you during the time of the arson?
Out and about. Little walk around the neighborhood. That's still legal, right?
But it's a terrible alibi. What size are your shoes?
Well, I own a pair of 11.5 feet. You do the math.
Gonna need a cast. Can I not get a cast? Okay.
Need me for something?
Bring him back in.
Sure, I can do that.
You've been lying to us.
Yes. There you go.
You see, Mr. Gray, when somebody confesses, trying to help and all, but mixes in a lot of bull, well, we get frustrated. And me personally, I get cranky when I get frustrated.
See what I mean about the clock?
We're willing to give you a chance to put us in a better mood. So let's play truth or dare. Just leave out the dare part.
Who is Stan Gins?
Yeah, name rings a bell.
Oh.
Think maybe he lives in my neighborhood. Don't get to know your neighbors like in the old days.
Maybe you need a distinguishing characteristic of Mr. Gins to jog your memory. Like his being a convicted drug dealer, for instance?
And Mr. Gins is trying to be cooperative, too. He started by telling us you're one of his clients.
Why was his fingerprints on your shed?
Well, like I said, he's a neighbor. I think he might have borrowed my mower or... Look, I really didn't want to have to get into this. I'm going to level with you, really cooperate. But just remember, what I'm about to share with you could get me in hot water.
You already are.
I have a drug problem. A way out of hand drug problem. Which is why my business has gone to pot, so to speak. Stan Gins is my supplier. Lately, Gins had been showing up at strange hours, and he'd bring his low-life friends along. Partying at my place. It was just sickening. On the night of the fire, I made a decision. No more associating with scumbags like Stan Gins. So I fired him. He didn't take it very well. He was really PO'd, bent out of shape. Plus, I'm sure he was high at the time, which didn't help. While I was in my office, Gins must have gone to my shed, looking to see what kind of grief he could give me. There was a knock at the door, and I opened it. And damn if it wasn't Gins, glaring at me, brandishing a blazing Molotov cocktail he'd thrown together. He was out of control. He threw the bottle, smashed my window to fan the flames, and took off. I ran out to my shed and grabbed the fire extinguisher. But then the wheels started turning. I could make the best of this bad situation if I rigged the scene to implicate Richie. I didn't want my drug problem exposed, and at the same time, I knew that if I implicated Gins, he'd kill me for sure. I'd be protecting myself and taking a competitor down with me at the same time. After the fire was out, I cleaned up the broken window, knowing I needed to make it look like a break-in to hide what had really happened. I tried to get all the bits of glass I could find and brush the dirt off before tossing them back into the office.
You're lucky you didn't
That's
cut yourself.
the whole sad, stupid, but true story. I tried to save my reputation. How am I doing so far?
Well, both you and Gins will be going away all right. And you do have something in common. Neither one of you can hold on to his clients.
We should have another chat with our friendly neighborhood drug dealer.
Sounds good.
Yes? Sure, I can do that.
Jig's up.
Hey, I said I was out catching some air. I may have walked by his house, but that's all.
Sure.
Listen, you play with drugs, you get high. Play with fire, you get burned. No percentage in the latter.
You know, Gray might have covered for you once upon a time. But you try to burn somebody's house down, and the loyalty gets strained.
Going off on a good customer like that? You got a hot temper, Mr. Gins.
Go to hell. I've got plenty of customers, but he torqued me off. Guy thinks he's better than me. He said my friends were scum.
Imagine that.
I should have torched him, not his crib. Smart mouth looking down on me. And him, a degenerate doper.
I think that's a
Thank you, Mr.
confession.
Gins. That's what we call a confession around our little store. And you know how nice it is having another satisfied customer?
Nice.
Looks like a solid arson case against Gins. As for the high-flying Mr. Gray, he'll come down to earth with obstruction of justice, arson, and insurance fraud charges. By the way, trainee, nice work out there. But take some time to throw back a cold one after work and relax. This job can be hell on your personal life. Now, go see Grissom. He wants to see you.
Sounds like you showed some good instinct out there. But before you let it go to your head, let's take a closer look at how you did.
Yeah, I had to ask a couple of times.
Great work. But asking for help cost you in your final evaluation. See if you can do as well without using any hints.
Ah, you know. Still pretty good in my eyes. But there you go. Another case down. 3 to go. See you next time.